What's happening in Russia is a genuine crisis.
No, what's happening in the UK is a genuine crisis.
You're not imagining it. Your weekly shop really is more expensive. Prices in the supermarket are now 4.7% higher than this time last year.
People are spending less money on takeaways for the first time since lockdown as fast food sales have plummeted.
Got tea for tonight and tea for tomorrow night. But what? 35 quid! I don't have 35 quid. I actually hate my life.
What if I told you that Starbucks paid absolutely £0 in corporation tax for profits made into the year up to September 2024?
Anyone else just so stressed out about how much money they earn versus how expensive life is? Wages are where they are, and the cost of living, the cost of housing has gone up exponentially.
But like, what do you mean I have to spend most of my life working and I can't afford a one-bed flat to rent? To rent!
So we've just had the budget. I now can't afford to die. If I die, the tax bill will be so great that my children will not be able to afford to pay it.
Isn't it crazy that we work full-time on the fact that we can't even afford to buy our own place?
I think there are a lot of people out there who think that being a single person is really easy financially because they're like, oh, well, you only have to pay for yourself. And like, wrong.
I just wouldn't have a life. What would I do? I would work my 9 to 5, come home, sit in the house and repeat till I die.
I'm lost for words. I know I've just talked, but I'm lost for words. Absolutely ludicrous.
Welcome back to Brit Rants, where we pull back the curtain on the real villains running broken Britain. Let's call it what it is. Corporate greed is bleeding this country dry. While you ration your heating and stretch a tenner across 3 meals, CEOs are cashing bonuses big enough to buy entire neighbourhoods. The price of living has exploded, but not because we're using more. It's because big businesses have jacked up prices, gutted wages, and blamed everything from war to weather, while posting record profits. Energy giants, supermarkets, water companies, landlords, they're all feeding off a crisis they helped create, and we're the ones paying for it. This isn't a cost of living crisis, it's a cost of greed crisis. If you're sick of being squeezed while the rich get richer, hit subscribe, and let's tear into the truth.
What if I told you that Starbucks paid absolutely £0 in corporation tax for profits made into the year up to September 2024? But that's because, not that they didn't make money, they made over £500 million in sales. Sales declined 4% amidst controversy, how it treats its workers, how it treated those who linked it with what Israel is doing in Gaza described as genocide. But besides that, what it did was it paid £40 million in royalty fees to its parent company, Starbucks, basically International. And that pushed it into loss-making territory, which meant that it didn't have to pay corporation tax. Despite the fact that in the UK we have crumbling roads, we have crumbling hospitals and schools, we have the highest level of child poverty for 20 years, but governments can't extract tax from companies that make millions and billions of pounds worldwide. And how can we change that? How can we make sure that everybody pays their fair share? If you'd like to find out more, then see the caption down below, but tap, follow, and share for much, much more from Nova.
So we've just had the budget. I now can't afford to die. If I die, the tax bill will be so great that my children will not be able to afford to pay it. I mean, they've not even left school yet. Some haven't even started school. But don't worry. If you've done well in life, bought yourself a nice house in the country with a pony paddock, you're not going to be taxed when you die. Your kids can inherit your £1 million mansion for no tax. But if you're a farming business with land, which is your shop floor for producing food, now the government want 20% of that on your death. Now, no one minds paying tax when they're making money, but when we're not making money, what do we pay the tax with? We're just going to have to sell the land. It's just been devalued 20% because that's the tax bill attached to it. When it all starts coming on the market, it's going to be devalued even more. Well, who's going to want to farm anyway? We're not making any money. The hours are long, the days are long. The weather is rubbish. They say never work with children and animals. Well, Mother Nature's a cow. We've just wiped out UK agriculture because no one wants to do it anymore. No one wanted to do it anyway before the budget because it's been so difficult the last few years. And we were only really doing it for our kids. No one owns a farm. You look after it for the next generation. And now 20% of that the government wants on your death. What is the point? It's just... I'm lost for words. I know I've just talked, but I'm lost for words. Absolutely ludicrous.
I will never understand why people are deemed entitled for wanting a one-bed apartment. A one-bed apartment. We're not talking about a house. A one-bed apartment on a full-time wage. On a full-time wage. Like, I'm lucky. I'm lucky. I live with somebody I like. But like, what do you mean? I have to spend most of my life working and I can't afford a one-bed flat to rent. To rent. And again, you're so entitled. Back in my fuck off with your back in my day bollocks. Back in your day, you could buy a house. Being a postman. Like, I've seen people charge nearly $1,000 for a box room. A box room. You gotta be kidding me. That is half of someone's wage for a box room. What are they gonna put in that box room apart from the horizontal body? That's barely a wardrobe. They barely can own anything. They just live in a box room. Like, yeah, this is my room. Huh? Like, why is it so normalised to live with a bunch of weirdo strangers who don't know how to take out a bin? How to wash their dishes and they're like in their mid-40s. Again, I'm very lucky. I'm lucky. I live with someone who is my friend and is good to live with. And I don't have a box room. But I see it all the time. It's what the fuck?
What's happening in Russia is a genuine crisis.
No. What's happening in the UK is a genuine crisis. Inflation rates off the scale. Interest rates going up what would seem to be every single month. I saw something the other day where people are having to sell their houses and live in tents. So there's these tent cities popping up everywhere. You've got police not even investigating shoplifting for anything under around about £400 or £500. I don't know the exact figure, but the US is $950. Not even bothering. We've got ULEZ schemes going up in the outskirts of London, which means that people can't even afford to go into, not even central London, but just parts and boroughs of London that they've been operating in for years, can't run a business in there anymore. We don't know what a man is anymore. We don't know what a woman is anymore. Our police have turned into woke warriors that are doing silly dancing parades at the Notting Hill Carnival and getting sexually assaulted by the looks of it. By members of the public, but guess what? They're not doing anything about it. We've got one of the worst political parties ever in history trying to run things. The Conservative Party are tearing themselves apart at the seams. So unfortunately, mate, people aren't really interested in what's going off over in Russia and the Ukraine. Some of the woke brigade might have put the silly flags in their profiles on Facebook and whatnot, saying that they're all for this Ukraine and whatever it is. But actually, when push comes to shove, and prices at the fuel pump are 160 again, people are going to stop caring about stuff that's on the TV. Because it's not affecting my life one bit. What is affecting my life is the fact that energy bills are going up again. Diesel's gone up by 10 pence a litre in about 2 weeks. And the Prime Minister and all his mates are swanning off to Disneyland and spending 15 grand on a meal. They couldn't give a shit about us, so guess what? The vast majority of people couldn't give a shit about what's going off in Russia.
Asda, can we have a word, please? I can't believe it. I've just done an Asda order and I've just done a haul for my YouTube channel, and I got this on there. This has gone up. I bought this at the end of February. It's now the end of March, and I bought it at the end of February for £2.78. I do believe, something like that. It is now £4. Whoop. £4. What is that all about? Asda.
You're not imagining it. Your weekly shop really is more expensive. Prices in the supermarket are now 4.7% higher than this time last year. That's the biggest jump in grocery inflation since March 2023. And it's not just a one-off. Analysts from Kantar say this is part of a trend. Your cornflakes, bread, and even bog roll all getting pricier. This tiny punnet now costs the same as a cinema ticket, no popcorn included. But rising prices haven't scared shoppers away. Brits made nearly 490 million supermarket trips last month. That's the most we've done since the pandemic. So forget panic buying toilet roll. This is tactical shopping now.
So what's your strategy?
Budget ninja?
Bargain queen? Or just crying in the freezer like the rest of us?
I think there are a lot of people out there who think that being a single person is really easy financially because they're like, oh, well, you only have to pay for yourself. And like, wrong. Yeah, I do only have to pay for myself, which means I have to pay for my rent entirely by myself. I don't split it with a partner. My council tax bill, even though there's only one person, is only discounted by 25%. So if you're splitting your bill down the middle with a partner, I'm still paying more than you individually. My energy bills, yeah, okay, I pay less than you, but I'm not paying half because most of that cost is a standing charge. If I want to go on holiday, I have to pay for the room or the cabin entirely by myself. If I want to get a mortgage, I have to have a bigger deposit, and I can't get approved to borrow as much because I only have one income. Like, financially is really, really difficult to be a single person, and I think more people need to remember that when they're talking to their single friends.
People are spending less money on takeaways for the first time since lockdown as fast food sales have plummeted. Check this out. Expenditure on deliveries and fast food dropped at 0.2% for the first time since 2020 and lockdown. The dip comes after multiple fast food outlets such as McDonald's, Pizza Hut and KFC have reported a dip in their sales. Research by Barclaycard suggested that 54% of people in the UK are cutting down on takeaways due to the cost of living crisis. The Office for National Statistics reported that an Indian takeaway is 5% more expensive than it was that of a year ago. Higher energy costs and extortionate staff wages means that takeaways and deliveries have to increase the prices onto the customer. More and more people are becoming very cautious about what they spend, especially when it comes to takeaways, and we've even seen a huge phenomenon on social media with fakeaways where Brits are now making their own takeaways at home to save money. So people, let me know your thoughts on this one. Can you still afford a takeaway? Do you still eat out or eat at restaurants or takeaways? Let me know what you think in the comments.
Is anyone else fed up with this shitty country? Like, and the cost of living? The fuck is going on? I don't know anyone that isn't struggling at the moment, and is it actually a joke? It's a joke. Like, I work full time. I work 8 till 5, 5 days a week. I pick up weekend work and work in a bar. My boyfriend works full time, picks up weekend work, works in the evenings. Like, and yet we've got a week and a half left till payday, and I'm worried about how the fuck I'm going to feed us. Like, how are we going to feed ourselves? Sorry, what? I've just had to spend my last money choosing between feeding myself and my dogs. Obviously I fed my dogs, got them Harringtons. What the fuck? Like, I just want to go and be able to, like, feed myself and not stress about it, and, like, not worry about how I'm going to get to work. I already have put in to HR to work from home twice a week because I can't afford to drive to the office 5 days a week. Like, I rent a house that's only a 2-bedroom small town, like, terraced house. I don't own my house. My car I've had for like 8 years. It's literally falling apart. It's done 200,000 miles. I can't afford to fix it. Like, this is going to go kaput on me soon. Then I'm well fucked. So what the fuck am I going to do then? Because HR aren't going to approve 5 days a week from home. Like, what the fuck is going on? I just want to do girly things and, like, get my fucking nails done. And I can't because I've got to, like, worry about getting a loaf of fucking bread and a pint of milk. And my dog food. Like, what am I doing wrong? I don't go on holiday. I've not been abroad for, like, 7 years. And even the last holiday I went on, my parents paid for it because it was like a family holiday when I was 21. I'm 28 now. I've not been abroad since. I haven't even been away for a weekend anywhere in, like, England because I can't afford to. Like, I don't know. Anyone else just fed up with it? Like, I want to move abroad now, but I can't move abroad because Muggins here can't afford a fucking flight abroad, let alone flying all of our shit out as well. Someone's got to do something. This country is a fucking joke. I don't know anyone that isn't fucking struggling. What the hell? I don't know. If Keir Starmer sees this, you're a fucking knob. Suck your mum. Oh, I just dropped my phone as well.
Why is the UK sleeping on this? Why are people in the UK complaining about the cost of living, complaining about living paycheck to paycheck, complaining about the fact that they are slogging their bollocks off, being burnt out, working their 9 to 5 and not being paid enough, but everyone is still sleeping on this?
I couldn't agree with this more. What are we doing? We're getting squeezed from every angle. Cost of living's insane, right? The average salary is just under 40k a year. That will barely scrape a working class lifestyle. It's called the grind because it wears you down, and you're still barely able to make ends meet, and yet we just take it. Why? If you're still relying on your income in 2025, you're setting yourself up to fail. Everything's going up. Bills, food, interest rates, and there's no help coming. Yeah, complaining won't fix it. The only way out is to upskill and invest. Like, this is your wake-up call. Make your money work for you, or you're just going to keep on getting squeezed. Stop waiting. Stop hoping. Start building. Take control of your future before it's too late.
Isn't it crazy that we work full time on the fact that we can't even afford to buy our own place? Like, I work 40 hours a week and I pay taxes, I do the right thing. I've been to uni, worked really hard. I'm in a job that, that's well respected, but it just seems to be like, no matter how much you try and, work yourself up the ladder or how much you try to save, it doesn't seem to be enough. Like, the average deposit is around, I believe, it's around 20 grand. And then that's like almost my uni salary. Like, how on earth am I supposed to raise that amount of money? Unless, I move up, to become a manager. But I don't want to become a manager because it's not worth the stress and it's literally not really worth the pay.
Sorry. How did I just spend £35 on reduced food? I always come to Sainsbury's because they have really good options for the reduced. Got tea for tonight and tea for tomorrow night. But what? 35 quid! I don't have 35 quid. I actually hate my life. I can't believe I spent 35 quid. And now we're going to go and spend another 60 quid on fuel.
Yikes.
What side's the fuel?
On your side.
But on a serious note, how are things so expensive? How are people, I genuinely want to ask whoever's in charge of, just normal pay and then maternity pay, where they're getting the cost of living from, because it is costing us to live a lot. And it's so stressful. My boyfriend literally works 5 days a week and he does 9 hours every day. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45. It's 45 hours a week and maternity pay. And we still can't afford to live. Some people need speaking to.
So, Ryan, what you're saying is that hard-working, full-time working people who are giving up 40, 50, maybe more hours a week should go without their hobbies and luxuries just to go to work and pay taxes and be able to eat. Is that what you're saying? That, people that have gone through school, college, university, thought that they're going to get a good job, maybe they've fallen on some hard times, happens to all of us at some point, that those people don't deserve to have luxuries in life. They just need to rein it back in. That, all of their years of experience, hard graft, the things that they have been spending all their time up until this point in their life working towards in order to show the fruits of their labours, so just stop complaining. Is that what you're telling me? And that it's okay to see millions and billions of pounds being made by shareholders of companies that are providing people with their basic essential services and supplies for just living a basic life. That's okay for them to carry on making extortionate profits year on year and no one's doing anything about it. But the rest of us are supposed to stop complaining. But it's okay for those people to go and have their hobbies and luxuries and, you know, fast cars, holidays, probably a boat. Who knows what they spend their money on? They're not us. Whereas we just need to get, you know, happy with having some smart price shopping and maybe going out for a meal once a year on your birthday. Is that what you're saying? I just want to make sure I'm getting it right.
Anyone else just so stressed out about how much money they earn versus how expensive life is? Because I am looking at my income, and don't get me wrong, I've got a good salary, like, for my age, but I'm looking at my income and I'm looking at my outgoings and I'm like, I just don't know how this is sustainable for the future. Like, if things are going to increase in price and wages are going to stay where they are, I just feel so hopeless. And I spoke about it in a recent video about how I don't think I'll be able to afford a house. The idea of being able to save up for a deposit on the salary that I'm on with my partner, I'm so hopeless. And like, it just makes me really down about putting in so much effort into your career, trying to climb the corporate ladder, to be like, do you know what? I can't even afford to just go on holiday. And like, that is something that I really, really thought I could just be able to do with the money that I was going to be earning at this age. And it's like, no, good luck. It's just really overwhelming to like look at the future and think, what am I doing all this for? If on a salary that I'm on now, if I can't afford a house now and houses are only going to get more expensive, I'm like, it just makes you feel so hopeless. I don't know if I'm the only one who feels like that, but yeah, not fun.
If you want to help people, charity begins at home. So don't be giving to people on the internet who don't prove where your money's going. Give to your local community. Donate to your local food bank. Give stuff to your local women's aid. Donate to, you know, local families who you know are struggling. Stop funding influencers' lifestyles. And off the back of that last video, it's always the people with the least that seem to give the most. I mean, we're in a cost of living crisis, have been for a long time. People are literally going without, they're going with nothing. People struggling to feed the kids, people struggling to pay the bills. Let's be honest, it's never been so rife that people cannot afford to live as they can currently. And yet you can bet your bottom dollar all the time you'll see comments, oh, I get paid my, I don't know, whatever, PIP or universal credit or wages, whatever. I get paid on Friday, I'll send you some money then, or I'll donate then, or I'll buy then. It's just mental to me how people with the least seem to give the most to people they've never met, who provide no proof of where that money's going, no proof that they've even bought the items that they claim that they're buying, or, you know, done what they've said they're going to do. And yet these people, vulnerable people online, who they've got rose tinted glasses on, just give blindly because they think they're doing a good thing. And that's the issue, isn't it? Genuine normal people think that they're helping others, but they're not. All this money is just going into the pockets of scammers online, because that's what it is, the scammers. These influencers who claim that they're doing the Lord's work, they're just liars. It's all just going to fund their own lifestyle. And it's just mental to me, it really is.
So I just posted a video talking about like the cost of living and just how hard it is at the moment with how expensive everything is. And I feel like a lot of the comments just completely missed the point of the video. Like, there were so many comments being like, have you thought about cutting down your outgoings? And like, it really just completely misses what I was trying to get at, because when you say to people, oh, have you thought about dropping your outgoings? It's like, of course. Like, for me personally anyway, of course I've thought about that. Of course I've cut down on certain things so that I can save. But when you have that approach to like finances and money and stuff, you completely disregard the fact like wages are where they are and the cost of living, the cost of housing has gone up exponentially. Yeah, like the cost of housing and stuff, I think it's like 7 times more than what it was 30, 40 years ago. And the wages have pretty much stayed the same. That was the point I was getting at. And I also think that when people say, oh, like, just reduce your outgoings, there's only so much you can reduce your outgoings, and there's only so much you can increase your income depending on your career and your qualifications and everything like that. Saying to people, just reduce your outgoings, it gets to a point when you've reduced and reduced and reduced, to the point if you were to cut everything out, you would literally be just existing and surviving. Like, you wouldn't be having a life. If you told me to cut out things like my gym membership or paying for my dog, like, I just wouldn't have a life. What would I do? I would work my 9 to 5, come home, sit in the house and repeat and repeat and repeat till I die. Like, that rhetoric is really rubbish. And basically the point of my video wasn't to ask for financial advice. It was basically to just say, isn't it crap the way the world is at the minute? Isn't it crap that you're working really, really hard to not be able to afford a house? And that's the lie that you were told growing up, that just do this and you'll have a house and you'll be fine. And actually, that's just not the case now. That was the point of the video. So yeah, I didn't mean it to come across as like, give me free financial advice. It was more just to be like, it's a bit of crap, isn't it? And a lot of people in the comments were also agreeing and feeling this way about money. And that is something I just wanted to open the conversation about and say, like, it's hard. Yeah, so yeah, I hope that clears things up with that video, because God, the comments, the hate. I was like, sorry about this. I was only putting out a little sweet little thought into the world, but yeah, people can be mean on the internet. Who knew?
Some people live paycheck to paycheck, and this is another reason why people can't save as much as they want. Because when you live paycheck to paycheck and you're not budgeting, you're not actually managing your finances correctly, like, there's no room for you to actually have a savings where you can, let's say, get a mortgage or, you know, save for, I don't know, some investments that you want to make.
But it comes down to a lifestyle inflation. So I'm going to give you a little scope for you to understand this year. Just imagine this in your head. So you got an individual and that person's bringing in, let's say they're bringing in £3,000 a month, yeah? Now, that person's been given a pay rise. That person now makes £3,500 a month. Now, what the average individual will do is they will fall into something called lifestyle inflation. So that means because they're getting that additional £500 a month, which is an extra £6,000 per annum, they will say, this additional money that I have, I am going to increase my lifestyle in line with that. So they will get a better car, or they will, you know, spend more money on holidays or something like that. But all it's doing is eating away at their money every single time. Now, what happens is inflation still plays its role within that situation. So let's say that individual now has, you know, they're making that £3,500, and time goes on and incrementally their salary's not really going up, yeah? Because that happens sometimes. When you've gone now and spent that money on that finance, instead of you telling yourself, let me continue to keep living in the same lifestyle or the same way that I was living before when I had £3,000, and just put that additional money that I have away for something else, you know, have it into an emergency fund pot, or put it into an ISA account, or put it into a savings account, or put it into a high interest bearing account where you can actually earn money on it. They want to keep up with the Joneses. And this is where the problem happens. A lot of people, their issue is not how much money they make. It's what they do with the money when they get the money. It's not having the ability to save that money. It's not having the ability to keep that money. And we're just coming into a time now where, you know, everything is going up so significantly. And, you know, lifestyle inflation is not what you want to be doing in this current climate. You want to be cutting back, but you want to be earning more. So you want to tell yourself, let me reduce my expenses as much as possible. Let me park this money away into this.
Transportation crisis, oh guys, we are still complaining about food, that nothing is cheap again in the shops. Now it's transportation. What is UK turning into, guys? You people that are driving, you guys are lucky, oh. We that cannot drive and we are too lazy to learn. Hey, we're stuck. Anywhere that is not close to my house, that is not close to me traveling by bus, I'm not going. Underground. Before you guys will see me, it will take a long time. So
I won't be alone in this, but does anybody just find themselves scared when they go grocery shopping these days? Just the fear that it's just becoming unaffordable. Every time you go, the prices have gone up and up and up, and no matter how much you plan and you buy what you need, none of the extras, none of the treats, the fancy things, the branded things, your shopping bill just seems to be significantly more than it was last year, when last year you were buying the treats and some branded things, and maybe you didn't plan quite as well as you should have. We have 13 children, which is completely our choice. So clearly our food budget is more, and we need a significant amount of food more than the regular family. My husband's salary hasn't gone up this year so far. We're still waiting to find out what pay rise the armed forces get. I'm guessing it's going to be nowhere near what it actually should be and what the military deserve. The fact that they haven't even been bothered to figure that out yet says a lot. As our family receives no child benefit, we receive no tax credits. My husband is a high rate taxpayer, so whilst his salary starts off at what seems a really good amount of money, by the time it is taxed and national insurance to then be divided by 15 of us, needs careful thought and consideration on how we spend our money. But with everything going up, and his salary not, food shopping is something that I absolutely dread.
They say it's inflation, they say it's global, but behind every soaring bill and shrinking paycheck, there's a CEO counting his bonus and a boardroom clinking glasses. Corporate greed is the real pandemic, and we've been forced to swallow the cost. They slash jobs and call it efficiency. They hike prices and call it market forces. They hoard wealth and call it just business. Meanwhile, working Brits are drowning in debt, skipping meals, and watching their futures disappear. If we don't start calling it what it is, if we don't push back, this cycle never ends. So drop your story in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and let's keep exposing the scam, one rant at a time,